Hello folks, welcome to the canal El Chano Jose. Today we're going to show you the procedure on how to replace a turn signal or emergency flashers relay or flasher and on a 91 to a 94 Toyota Tercel. And for that we're going to show you that you have to remove a plastic panel from underneath the steering wheel to get to it. It's not on the fuse box. So we're going to show you the procedures and the tools. So for this procedure, what I'm using is a 10mm socket, small extension, and my ratchet. I'm using the Milwaukee M12 electric ratchet because it makes the job easier, faster. And I'm gonna be using a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. And we're gonna show you where to use all those tools as we go. Okay, folks, as you're looking at the steering wheel, right underneath is this panel, and we're gonna have to remove this panel to get to the relay. And for that, for the flasher, and for that we're gonna have to remove that cover and this plastic cover that exposes to a 10mm bolt and a 10mm bolt. And for that we're gonna pop them, and that's what we use the flathead screwdriver to pop those plastics so we can expose those two 10mm bolts. So now we have exposed the 10mm bolts, so we gotta take 1, 2, 3, and 4 10mm bolts off. That's where you use the 10mm socket, and we take those off. So we have this screw that is a Phillips screwdriver that is needed for this job. That's the last screw that we have to take off, and once we remove that, this whole panel should be pretty much ready to come off. So at this point we can pull this whole plastic off from the bottom, and it's gonna fall down. Be careful, start pulling it slowly. So this leverage for the hood is gonna be attached to this plastic. So all we're gonna be doing is pull and then lower this plastic down to the floor panel, and then we can access the relay. So once you remove the plastic and it's right down there, the relay is gonna be right here. As you see, the fuse box that is inside the car is right here. We got the steering wheel column going down this way, and right about here is the relay. You can see that blue letters on it. That's the flasher relay. So for us to take this guy off, we're gonna have to slide it towards the passenger side. So we're gonna slide it over and then we'll take it off. So once you slid it, the relay off of that guide in top, and this is the guide that slides in there. So it will be sitting just like this. This seat keeps making the noise because it's leather, and so it sounds like a different thing. So anyways, this is the original part from Toyota. Hasn't gone bad. But as you can see, flasher, there's all the info for it. So it's the Denso original Japan. So what we're gonna be doing, if any time this goes bad, you're gonna have to take it out by lifting this lever here, this plastic, and this other side, this other plastic. So it releases from that little tab, both sides. And as we lift this tab and the other tab on this side to pull it out, once you release those two tabs and you get a pull, don't pull it too hard because there's a mechanism inside this guy that is plugged in different ways than the normal relays. And we're gonna show you what we mean by that. So we're gonna lift this tab, this other tab, and then take it off. So this is what I meant, folks. When we release the tabs and we pull out, we pull it, don't pull it too hard, because these two legs, this one and the other one on the side, they pull out, but this one, the third one, is attached to another tab. That is, there's a little piece of metal going from that tab over into this side. So if you pull too hard, you're gonna yank that off and pull it and rip it. So you want to pull gentle and then get a screwdriver and then start pushing inwards, pulling that away from that tab, so that way we can release it and get the flasher off. Okay, folks, so you want to be careful when you pull in the flasher away, so you don't yank this little tab off of the plug, because then you're going to have problems putting the flasher back in, and it's not going to work at all now. So don't break it. So make sure also that when you get your flasher, that you don't get something like this and it's not going to fit, because there's 4 legs and there's only 3 legs on this guy. So you want to make sure you get the right one before you pull it off of the package, that you have the right flasher. Even if it doesn't have this slide thing, this guide, at least you have the right 3 legs for it that is gonna work, not the 4 legs like this that is not even, see. So you get your new flasher. It probably doesn't have the guide because they're newer models now. They're not meant for exactly for the car, they're just generic. So now you get it and you install it just the way it is. There's only one way it will go in, the 3 legs. So once you slide it in and you got it plugged in, and then you verified at this point that your flashes and your turn signals work, because if this guy is gonna make a click, and you're gonna notice that your flashers and your signal lights are gonna work. If this doesn't make a click, something else might be going on. But at this point, before we start putting everything back together, we just plug it in and we test it. Okay, so open the key and we're gonna put a turn signal towards the driver. It works. Passenger, it works. Now we're gonna try our flashers, or emergency hazard light. Now they work. Back to normal. And usually what you're gonna hear is the click on this guy, and the click doesn't come from the turn signal on the dash over there. It comes from this guy. This guy makes the click. So this is a mechanical, or a mechanism inside that makes a click inside here. So this is what makes the click on your car to advise you that the turn signal is on. So once we verify that that works, now we start putting back the whole thing. So if your flasher came with the guide, we put the guide and slide it in the place that it was being held at. And if it doesn't, you just arrange it and fit it in there so you can have it towards where it used to be. So now that we have replaced our relay or flasher, we're gonna put this plastic piece back on and we'll start bolting it down and put the little covers on. So we have put the 4 bolts, 10 millimeter, that hold the panel towards the dash. So now we can put and we have put up this Phillips screw in there too. So now what we can do is put the plastics that cover this guy and this guy, and that should finish our procedure. And well, folks, this was the procedures on how to replace the flasher or the relay for the hazardous lights or the turn signal. And for that, we had to remove the panel right here underneath the steering column. So we show you the procedures how to remove it, and you gotta be careful when you're unplugging it, because if you pull it too far, you're gonna pull that little tab off of it and it's gonna break. Well, folks, I hope you find this info useful for your next replacement on your flasher, and we'll see you soon with more videos here in El Canal Chano Jose.